Okay, now, again, our question is how many people out of 1,000 are taller than Duane? Now we say 1,000 because Duane's been around campus for a couple of years, and I asked him, how many people do you think you've seen during that time that you would have noticed whether they were taller than you or shorter or somewhere around the same height? He said, well, there are about 1,000 people. So we want to see, his perception was that there's one person he knows is taller, and there may be a dozen that are close to the same height, and out of that dozen, it could well be that a few are a little taller. Okay, so that's our information, but let's think about how we would use our normal curve model to predict how many people out of 1,000 would be taller than Duane. Now we have the Z table, and we introduced that in the preceding class. Remember that the Z table will tell you, if you look up Z, it'll tell you what portion of the area under the curve lies between the mean and that Z value. So actually, if I could find a piece of purple chalk, here we go. Okay, that would be this area. Okay, the Z table would tell you how much of the area under the curve lies in the shaded region. Now, what we're interested in is what portion of people are taller than Duane, so it would be everything beyond this point, but the Z value isn't going to tell you. The Z table isn't going to tell you how many people or what proportion of the curve lies beyond this point. It only tells you what portion lies between here and here, and you're going to have to use that to figure out the proportion that lies to the right of Duane's 79 inches, or Z equals 2.67. So table, not sure how legible or visible that's going to be, but I'll write the word table in here. The table gives you this area. So I'll say table area. I don't think the purple shows up that well, but that's what we're saying here. So what we do is we look up the table area. It corresponds to Z equals 2.67. I don't think anybody had any trouble doing that. They found that the area was 0.496. Now, you got to know that 0.496 is the same as 49.6% if you want to think of percents, but one way or another, you get the area. And what this says is that 49.6% of the area under the curve, which would correspond to 49.6% of the 1,000 people, will lie between here and here. Now, we're interested in how many lie over here. Well, that's easy enough to calculate. We know that the curve is symmetric about the middle, so that 50% of the curve excuse me, lies to the right of the middle. So 50% is 0.5, 0.496 or 49.6% then lie between here and here, leaving you what? 50% to the right minus the 49.6% from here to here leaves you the percent that's out here. That would be 0.4%. Or we could just do the calculation going to proportions, going to the decimals. It's 0.5 minus 0.496 or 0.004 of the population should be taller than Duane. That's 4 out of 1,000, 4 1,000s. Okay, now we got that calculation up here. Here's our question, and then here's our answer. The 0.4% that lie to the right of this point, or 0.004 out of 1,000, are taller than Duane. That would imply that 0.004 times 1,000, or 4 people, would be taller. And that's pretty consistent with what Duane's observation was. He said there's one person taller, and maybe 12 around the same height, so it's perfectly plausible that there are 4 people who are at least a little bit taller than Duane. Now, the number doesn't have to be 4, and we're talking about statistical fluctuations, There might be something about this campus that either encourages or discourages tall people. I don't think there is. But you have to think about those things when you're interpreting your statistics. One final comment. I actually took a look on the internet to see what I could find out about the mean height of American males. I thought probably around 71 inches. When I was young, I think it was around 69 inches, maybe 68 even. But it's been going up for the last 100 years. So I thought 71 inches might be reasonable. It turns out it's actually 69 inches. Now but the other thing is the standard deviation is what people thought it was, 3 inches. And that was a pretty good estimate from the class. So if the standard deviation is 3 inches and the mean is 69 inches, that promotes Duane up into a little higher z-score, which means there'll be even fewer people taller than Duane. So maybe that one person was a realistic estimate.